Welcome to Baseball Biz. I'm Mark Carpet, your host, and I am so glad you're here. It's Halloween season, and if your team isn't in the World Series, like mine, then you have to find your entertainment somewhere else. And, oh, gosh, I'm a suffering, boys and girls. And luckily today, I have somebody else whose team may not be there right now. We got Ben Sabin on with us today. How you doing today, Ben?
I'm doing pretty well. Thank you for having me, Mark.
It's great to have you here. Ben's a writer, and he's with The Last Word on Sports. He's shared a lot of good ones, too. As a matter of fact, as I was trying to find some ideas, Ben, for Halloween this year, I came across an article you had written about Wrigley Field. And I mean, the Cubs are magnetic to everybody anyway. So there's so much history there. But as far as Halloween and looking at curses and ghosts and things that go bump in the night, evidently the Chicago Cubs have plenty of that going on.
Yeah, they definitely do. I mean, it's especially for a team that's been around as long as they have, and especially Wrigley Field has been around as long as it has since, I guess it opened in 1914. So you're bound to accumulate some ghosts over that amount of time, you know.
Yeah, certainly. And I know one of the ones you had written about, Charlie Grimm, Grimm. So
Yeah.
already there with kind of a Grimm's Tales kind of thing. But to tell us a little bit about Charlie when he was with the team and a little his history.
Yeah, Charlie Grimm was with the Cubs in the 1920s, 1930s, and he was a first baseman for them, and then a manager and a first baseman. He took over for Rogers Hornsby in 1932, and he actually was the manager for the Cubs when they played the Yankees in the 32 World Series. And so, but they of course got swept by the Yankees that series.
Ouch.
So it was, yeah, not a good series for them, and that could be one of the reasons why he hasn't left Wrigley Field. You know.
Ooh, and that's interesting of itself because when I read your story, the one sense I got about Charlie is he's a clubhouse guy. He's somebody who has a positive energy he brings to the field. And wow, I mean, some of the things I was hearing, the antics he would do would be, going up behind an umpire and mimicking some of the things that they were doing and crossing some bats and knocking things around, et cetera. But as you said, his career, he must have felt somewhat unfulfilled being swept by the Yankees. And of course, the Yankees know what being swept feels like right now.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Can't say I'm upset about that.
No,
that's a different story. Yeah.
but with Charlie, what is the word about him as far as his spirit and Wrigley Field? What's going on there?
Well, one of the things is, I guess, a lot of security guards around there. They hear the bullpen phones ringing late at night randomly, and the legend has it is that it's Grimm who's making pitching changes from the afterlife.
Ooh.
So he's calling down there, and they'll hear the phones ring randomly. It's late, nobody in the stadium, just security guards, and they'll go off. And so they also say that he's possibly buried in left center field in a private box out there. So we don't know. He could still be there physically as well as spiritually.
Wow. Man, I know some people are passionate about their jobs and certainly about their sports. And I do believe there can be an energy that transcends, what we can tell in the material world here. So I can certainly abide by the idea that that's possible. And, in talking about ghost in Wrigley Field, and I know there's some stories even about Harry Caray.
Oh, yeah, Harry Caray, the beloved Harry Caray, even if you weren't a Cubs fan, you love Harry Caray.
Well, I know before there was a whole lot of streaming, there was cable, and WGN was the way a lot of people got introduced into baseball. If there was anybody that you're going to learn anything about baseball, it was going to be with Harry Caray. And, singing there with all the fans and bringing them all together. He was bigger than life when he was here. But evidently, people are still seeing some or hearing some about what he's doing.
Yeah, that's what we're hearing. I guess, people say that he comes through and it's an unexplainable mist is what they've said. And then they feel his presence, an overwhelming feeling of his presence. And they say that, it's he was always pretty well known for interacting with the crowd, and it looks like he's still doing that, you know.
He's been beloved by the entire Cubs community for all these years. And I have to tell you, it was a little disturbing to me, though. Field of Dreams this year, okay?
Yeah.
And lo and behold, out there in the middle of Iowa, somebody has procured the spirit of Harry Caray and 3D hologram, feature, getting ready to sing to everybody, take us out to the ball game. Yeah. And I just found that very spooky. I think if I had met his actual ghost, I don't think it would have made me squirm as much as that technological marvel did.
I feel the same way. When I saw it, I went, wait a second, what? Is that really him? What is that?
Oh, that was just spooky, man. I mean,
well, and they say too that a lot of times they've seen his ghost in the press box or in nearby bleachers too. So, maybe it was really him.
Yeah, that's a heck of a presence. I can say that much. But Chicago overall, I mean, it's such a great city with a lot of history. Everything from crime to sports to baseball to the taverns. I know when I had the pleasure going to Chicago a while back, and I went to the Billy Goat Tavern. Yeah. And actually, this has been several years ago. It's before I was actually involved in baseball as much as I am today. But then I discovered that the Billy Goat Tavern had something to do with a curse on the Chicago Cubs.
Yeah, the curse of the Billy Goat, right? They wouldn't let in. Oh man, what was the owner's
William
name?
Sianis? I can't.
Yeah, that's what it was, and they wouldn't let him come in with his goat. And so he put a curse on him that worked, right, for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it. I think he put the curse on for 71 years from like 1945 till Madden and the boys in 2016. Right. But that was, so that curse has evidently been lifted. So I'm glad to hear those things are going well for Wrigley Field.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess the Indians still have a curse on them, or sorry, the Guardians. And they still have, what is it? The Curse of Rocky Colavito, right?
Share that one.
Yeah. Well, I don't know too much about it, but yeah, I guess it was a curse that they traded him away. And since it was sort of like a Curse of the Bambino, right? When the Red Sox got rid of Ruth, yeah, same kind of thing. They got rid of Colavito and haven't won since. I think that's what it was. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'd have to do a little more research on it.
Check that one out too, man. It's pretty good. I can tell you, living here in Tampa, it's been interesting because there's all kinds of cultures that come together, and there's all kinds of history here too. Yeah. And one part of that history, when a lot of the minor leagues come here and have their training each year, a lot of folks, whether it be visiting the Rays or for spring training, stay at the Vinoy in St. Petersburg, and that's a beautiful old hotel. But it seems as years pass, more and more stories come to the fore. And there have been visions of a lady in white who's been seen there. Water taps being turned off and on, sounds of feet going across the floor in the middle of the night, the like flickering lights. So all the traditional movie scary stuff that you want to see. But also I was like, a guy by the name of Scott Ryan Williams. He was a right-hand pitcher for the Cubs. And when he was there, I think he may have been the one that saw this translucent man who was standing by the curtains. He fell asleep, and a couple hours later, he still saw him there. Another player felt somebody pressing down on them while they were sleeping in the bed, only to find some objects moved around as well. So there's all kinds of hauntings with baseball players and old hotels. The one in Milwaukee, the Pfister.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
That one has its history too with players that go there. I understand, you've been on the road, you've been spending several nights and all that, and you're tired, but certain hotels, certain places, there seems to be recurring themes. And whether it's the lady in white at the Vinoy or the translucent man or the lights flickering, it's Halloween and the curses abound, and it's just it drives you crazy. I had the good fortune, or if you want to call it that, when I was working at the Tropicana for the Rays, and part of the training took place out of season, So like most of the lights were dimmed in that place. And I got to tell you, Ben, it was spooky walking the halls, the corridors, if you will. That the only light you would see are like the red exit signs just glaring, just down the hall from you, and the reverberation of anything else as far as a shouting or something dropped and clang. But I've got a vivid enough imagination as it is, but in circumstances like those, you can kind of get the gist that there might be something else going on there.
Yeah. Your mind can play tricks on you, but is it really playing tricks, or is it just something else playing tricks on you? You just don't know. Yeah,
I don't know. But when I think of this season too, I think of the ghosts, and I think of the the traditional shrieks and shrills and booing.
Yeah.
And of course, now being you and I being involved with baseball, when I think of booing, I think of New York Yankee fans.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, man. They're haunting Aaron Judge. I've been haunting him all the way through the ALCS. Look here, the man's out there. He's doing a great job all in all. The man's hitting as many home runs, 62 home runs this year.
Yeah.
And guess what? We don't appreciate you, so we're going to shout and boo you. And that's kind of a scary Halloween thing to do.
Right. We'll take him over in San Francisco. More Halloween. We'll have him over there in the orange and black.
Well, we'll say a little bit more about it, because he's got some roots out there, doesn't he?
Yeah, as far as I know he's Bay Area. I don't know exactly where he was, but I know I saw an interview with him, and I'm pretty sure he had a Buster Posey jersey in the background when he was being interviewed at his home. So I'm just saying, and Posey's Posey's on the ownership group now. So
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, that's a newer thing. So he's on the ownership group. So hopefully he can talk to do a little talking with Judge.
Yeah, if you can't appreciate what you got, they should be able to go somewhere else. I know Aaron, I think, kind of getting away from the Halloween, but coming back to the world of baseball today, it has been very interesting what's happening with this young man. I mean, I applauded him where at the beginning of the year, he didn't jump on the bandwagon and say, yes, I'll go ahead and sign right now. We don't have to worry about this free agent stuff.
Yeah. He's really, I think he's done such a great job this year, especially handling all the pressure with chasing that, the American League home run record and all that single season. Oh my gosh. It just, he's done a really great job.
He has, and the ghosts of Ruth and Maris have not raised up just yet, but Maris Jr. evidently still has a lot to say about.
He definitely does. Yeah, I saw a little bit about that. I kind of went, I'll leave that to him.
Wise choice.
Yeah.
Oh, brother. No, I don't know. To me, it's one of the most exciting things that's going to happen this postseason. I don't have a dog in this hunt. I would have pulled for Frank Conan and his boys probably. And, because the Cleveland Guardians, there's a lot there. There's some youth, and I was really hoping to see, once my guys were out of the hunt, I was kind of pulling for them.
Yeah. I was really pleased with the Padres for knocking the Dodgers out. So I was pulling for the Padres a little bit, but now I think I got to pull for my old giant. I got to go for Dusty Baker. I can't say I'm an Astros fan, but I can say I'm a Baker fan. So
I get that. I'm of the same mindset, and I was pulling for the Padres too, because one thing I like about baseball, even though I'm a fan of the Rays, I'm somewhat agnostic, because you get to really enjoy players and they migrate to other teams.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's not like it used to be, right?
No,
long time ago. Yeah.
No, not Kurt Flood, and they're going to hold you forever and a day until after 20 years, as they were going to move you. But to be able to see, from my guys with the Rays, being able to see Charlie Morton and Travis d'Arnaud, both who went to the Braves, and looking at the Padres and seeing Blake Snell and Cronenworth, both excellent players, and seeing them there. So I don't lose a whole lot with just the Rays, because they may not be here in the Tampa Bay area sometime in the near future anyway. And that's kind of a scary thing, but
I hope they stay. That's you never like to see a team leave,
No, but that's pretty much where some of that's heading. So what do you see for the future of baseball in 2023? What do you think is going to look different with the new rules, as long as we're talking about scary stuff?
Oh yeah, sure, right. It's one of those, yes, as baseball fans, we tend to not want that change, but I'm, to be honest with you, I'm excited about the bigger bases because of the base stealing.
Yeah.
I really, the whole strikeout home run thing, I'd like to see that go away a little bit. I'd want to see a lot of base stealing and even the pitch clock. I think at first I was a little bit against it, but now I'm thinking, maybe it'll be good, speed up the games a little bit, and it'll probably cause a little more base stealing too, because now what is it? They can only throw over, is it twice? Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah. So yeah, I was against it, and now I'm slowly gravitating towards all these changes.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to that as well. I'm hoping to see a little bit more base stealing. To me, that's one of the most exciting parts of the game.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if anybody will get near Ricky Henderson though.
No,
I don't think we'll see that again for a long time. Yeah.
No, that'll be a hard one to beat for sure. I am curious to see. I've kind of embraced the shift. I know, but a lot of they want to see it gone. Okay, but here's the deal: you look at some of the players with the shift. People like Bo Bichette, everybody used to go ahead and move for him with the shift, but you know what Bo did? He got better.
Yeah, right.
He built variation into where he could place a ball. And from where they were doing a shift on him, you see as much as 40 or 50% of the time, it's now down to single digits when they go ahead and shift on him because they know he's going to break it. It's going to be interesting too, because one of the rules of the shift change is your feet, if you're an infielder, has to stay in the dirt. You can't be really touching the outfield grass.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I'm hearing too, that they're talking about, what is it? The 2-man outfield.
Yeah,
that's what I'm hearing too, where they're going to take one of the outfielders and reposition them to try to get around the shift, but I don't know. I mean, because then you can turn a single can turn into a triple if you don't have an outfielder out there, so it's, I don't know if that'll work, but like you said about Bo Bichette or it's baseball's a game of adjustment. The best are the best at adjusting. So I think as far as the shifts, I was getting used to it too. And now that they're taking it away, I think, well, it's kind of an interesting part of the game.
Oh no, I know. We'll see. And it's been an exciting year thus far. 2023, you got any teams that you're seeing that maybe aren't at the top right now that you expect to see do better?
Well, I'd love to see my Giants do a little better.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll get Aaron Judge over there. We'll see, but yeah, I think, as far as the NL West goes, which is where I tend to have a lot of, attention, I think the Padres are obviously on the way up, but I think they could possibly even have a better season next year. They do than this year, but they could actually challenge the Dodgers maybe for the NL West title, and hopefully the Giants will be up there too. But
yeah, and there's a lot of teams who've done well. I mean, buying a good stream of talent, and then there's those who have to do it through the farm system, and then there's those who just kind of sit on their hands, I think, sometimes. But I mean, the Dodgers and the Mets, I've always looked at them and said, okay, well, just open the checkbook and place a team, and it didn't work for either one of them this year.
No. Yeah, I mean, the Dodgers have what is it? One World Series in how long? What was it? 10, 11 years that they've been at the top of the West. And then, you open the checkbook, and sometimes it's not about the marquee players. It's about the team that you have and them playing together. And that's, Well, I really like Seattle. I wish I'd seen them go a little further, but they didn't, which is too bad. But I think they're a team that's on the rise that we'll see a lot of in the next couple of years.
So do you think that a team with 111 wins should be secured a spot further down the list? I mean, because the Dodgers didn't get there, and the playoffs, I mean, they've been working and mixing it up somewhat there, Ben. And I was okay with this year. There can probably still be some tweaks, but as far as the playoffs and the number of teams and where you put the division leaders, do you have any thoughts on that?
I like all the rule changes. At first, you want to sort of go, I don't know, they're changing the format, they're doing it, but I like it because I mean, as far as diehard baseball fans go, like we are, regular season, postseason, I'm gonna love it either way. But then you get a lot of fans who they tune in for the postseason. If you can have more teams in it representing their city, I think it's a great thing. Brings more fans in, and I'm in for that. For baseball being at the top.
Any way they can keep it more exciting, I appreciate that and I enjoy it to me. So we'll see what happens with that aspect of it. Is there anything in particular you want to talk about?
Oh gosh, no, just, baseball's the best.
Okay. Well, Ben, it's been exciting today, man. I'm really glad you're able to join us here today. There's a lot of exciting things going on. We talked about the hairy, scary stuff, and we talked about what may be a little scary for the future with upcoming rules. And I am looking forward to 2023. But actually, at the end of the show, I'm going to put on an episode we did back in October of 2020. And it's called The 5 Stages of Grief for the Tampa Bay Rays after Kevin Cash pulled Blake Snell in the 6th inning against the Dodgers. But we'll do that. A little bit more, Ben, where can folks find you and some of the stuff that you're writing these days?
Oh yeah, you can find me at Twitter at B_E_Sabin and on Instagram at BE Sabin. And then I have a website as well, www.benjaminsabin.com. And then of course you can find me on Last Word on Sports as well.
Okay, cool. And what's some of the more recent stories that you've been covering?
Well, I just did a story about the history of single season home run records. So all the way back past Ruth and into some of the guys that nobody really knows, because you always, when you think of home runs and you think of Ruth and there were some other guys that didn't necessarily hit a ton of home runs, but a lot of their home runs they had inside the Parkers, so they had to leg them out instead of just trot around. A lot of those guys, late 1800s and stuff. So I did that pretty recently, and then always working on historical pieces. That's really what I love.
Well, I'm looking for more of that, and again, they can find you on Last Word on Sports.
Yes, yeah, Last Word on Sports, and then on Twitter at B_E_Sabin.
Thank you, Ben. It's been great having you here today on Baseball Biz.
Thank you so much, Mark. It's been a pleasure.
Great. Look forward to having you here again real soon.
Anytime.
Okay. Well, we'll be glad to have you. I want to thank everybody for joining us here today, and we look forward to talking with you again real soon. Special thanks to X-Take RUX for the music Rocking Forward. Also, remember, you can find us on Twitter. You can find us on, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Stuffer. No, I'll fix that. Anyway, thanks again, Ben. You take care, buddy.
Thank you so much, Mark.
Welcome to a special bonus edition of Baseball Biz, where we take a non-scientific look at the 5 stages of grief and what are we going to do about it. Many fans had a difficult time handling this and found themselves going through the 5 stages of grief. And those stages are denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and finally acceptance. The first stage, denial. And I know in my heart, I thought, there is no way this Rays team can lose. This is the best team we've had. Their offense will come around. Snell is pitching at his career best in this game. He is mixing it up in a way that bewilders the Dodgers. That can't really be Cash walking to the mound. Switching to Anderson? Really? And then I moved on to the next stage, which was anger. How can these guys not hit the ball? Why is Randy Rosarina the only guy that can hit? I mean, can Chad Mottola wake these guys up? Maybe there's a Kirk Gibson in a Rays uniform hiding in the dugout tunnel. I mean, have you given up yet? That was the stage of anger. And the next stage I went through was bargaining. Please, 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 please tell Cash not to pull Snell, and I promise to watch less Netflix, wear my mask over my nose and mouth in the store, and I promise to donate to the Boys and Girls Clubs and mental health organizations everywhere. Just please let my Rays hit and win this game. The next stage is depression. Once Cash pulled Snell, he tore at the heartstrings of every Rays fan. I mean, I could just feel it. It just tore me up. I mean, the Dodgers dugout showed elation at this action. You see Mookie Betts smiling big as he pleases, Dave Roberts acknowledging with a nod to Mookie, and you felt all the energy that was in that Rays dugout just flow away and straight over into the Dodgers dugout. I got to go to bed now. I can't watch this. I think I'll sleep in for a day or two. I mean, Sports Center doesn't really cover that much baseball anyway. The last stage, acceptance. Okay, a day has passed and time to let go of a season that has passed. The season was fantastic. The Rays hitting, and pitching with wonderful 40 wins and 20 loss season. Outstanding. They won the ALCS champions, moving on toward the World Series. Some fantastic, exciting games. Baseball has been more important to me this year than ever, and there will be another Rays team again next year. That's the final stage, acceptance. So if we had another stage, it's going to be called, what are you going to do? What are you going to do about it, huh? Well, I'm not sure who may or not be on the roster next year, but I am certain there will have to be more stronger bats and perhaps a bit more flexibility with the analytics. I mean, is there a way to factor in momentum? If they could factor in analytics, momentum, spirit, and strength of the moment into analytics. There is a necessity for wisdom that supersedes pure analytics, a wisdom to see beyond the numbers and measure the emotional strength and character of a player and a team that may actually bend time and space a bit. But the other, what are you going to do about it, is we need to celebrate these Rays. Whether you're sending emails, social media, thanking them, blessing them, that is the way to go. There's no need for recriminations or finger pointing or anything else to boot. We need to celebrate these Rays. Well, let's go out with a little celebration and thanking everyone who's made this season what it is. And raise up. Thanks again for listening to the special Halloween edition of Baseball Biz. We look forward to talking with you real soon. Special thanks to Damiano Baldoni, the artist who provided the music, Funeral Battle.